Hey there, this is Mark with ClickFunnels, and in this video, we'll be going over how to use the page editor in ClickFunnels. So the first thing that we're going to take a look at is here on the right-hand side. These are all the settings and tools that you will use while using the page editor. So in the settings, you'll see where you can edit your meta tags and social settings. These are the items that are going to show up when you share your page on Facebook or in Google. And you can edit the page title, description, add keywords, the page author, and add a image that is going to show up when you share on Facebook. You can also add your custom domain in the settings. You can choose whether to display or hide the ClickFunnels badge. You can choose whether or not you want to send a digital asset to a user when they opt in on your page, and you can edit the background settings. The background settings are going to be probably one of the settings that you use most often, aside from the meta tag settings. So you can change the background color of the entire page. You'll see that it changed here where the background is. I can add an image by clicking here, and I can either upload an image or select an existing image from my account. I can also choose from the background images tab down below. So if I double click and choose that image, you'll notice that the background here has changed. I can also select a background video using a YouTube URL. I can also update the default font for the page here, as well as the default text color and default link color. These can also be updated manually for each headline element. I can add tracking codes to track from third-party services. I can add a redirect override, and what that's going to do is it's going to send the user to a different page. Normally, when a user opts into a page or submits a form, they're going to be taken to the next page in the funnel automatically. If I add a redirect override, it will send them there instead. When I add a URL, I want to make sure to include http:// or HTTPS, depending on that URL. I can also add custom CSS if I am familiar with that. I can choose whether or not this page will be visible for search engines to find. And then I can also create a template from this page that I've created. So those are the basic settings for the page editor. Now, a couple of things you'll notice is when I hover over an element, you'll see here the gear icon appears, and then I get this, which is to copy the element. So if I click on that, it copies it. And then I can also delete by clicking the delete key. I can click on text and just edit by just typing right there over the text. I can center, bold, italicize, underline text. I can also add hyperlinks to my text here. You'll also notice that I can drag and drop any element on the page. It needs to go into an existing column or row. However, I can move it to anywhere on the page that I would like. It's also important to take note that your page is made up of sections, which is the green thing here, the rows, which is blue, and you have columns within each row, and then elements, which are orange. I can also access the sections, rows, columns, and elements by clicking on the side menu over here. This is the only way to access your column settings. So if you wish to add a specific background to a column, you will need to click on the columns over here, and then you can change the background color, add a background image, and add padding and lots of other things to your column settings. You'll notice that that color doesn't look great, so I'm going to go ahead and change that back, make that a white background. I can also use keyboard shortcuts. I can hover over an element and hit the D key for duplicate, and that's going to duplicate the element. I can hit the A key, and that's going to open the add element menu where I can add new elements to the page. And I can also hit the E key, and that's going to open the settings for my elements. Now, that's not going to work for the text elements. You'll see here what it does is it edits the text right there instead of opening the settings. But for any other element, it should work just fine. So when I build out a page, I can just come in here and I can start adding rows, and I can add a new section by clicking this icon down here. I can add a row to a section that has no rows in it. I can add an element by clicking here And I can just start clicking, and I can just start dragging and dropping wherever I want those things to go. I can add a headline, and I can add this same element to the same column if I like, just like that. I could set a different background image for just that row, and you'll notice it applies to just the row here. And there's a lot of other settings that I can play around with, such as shadow, borders, corner radius, and more. The other important thing to notice is here where it says save. You're going to want to make sure you save your work regularly. There is not an autosave in the editor. And you can also save and then preview your page. You'll notice that all the changes that I've made don't show up here because I haven't saved my page yet. Also, if you go to exit the page without saving, you'll get a pop-up that asks you, are you sure you want to leave the page? So that should help warn you and keep you from exiting the page without saving. You'll also notice that you'll get a couple of notices here if you haven't done some things on the page. So if you click here, it'll take you right to where you need to go to make those changes.